Hey everyone, it's Don from Crux Terminatus. Thank you for joining the video today. I'm going to show you quite simply the simplest, easiest, anyone can do it, even your granny, paint scheme for the Blood Angels. It involves two colours, Scarlet Red by Game Air and Bloody Red by Game Colour. Now these are 3D printed tanks, and you'll see one of them's got a big print line flaw in it, but I use that to my advantage later on. I'll show you how to do that. So these were sent to me by my good friend Robert. Hi Robert. And he has asked for a paint scheme that he can easily replicate, and he just wanted me to do basically the sort of testers for him. So it's Scarlet Red from Game Air, Vallejo Game Air, over grey Pound Shop car primer. If you haven't seen my video about pocket money versus professional tools, check that one out. And all I'm going to do is go over the whole model with this Scarlet Red. At this point I was thinking, wow, that's super dark. I wonder how this is going to turn out, but bear with me, it all works out in the end. So the problem with sort of any kind of tanks or rhinos or any kind of box like structure like that is you have to keep twisting it around to get all the angles, because otherwise you will miss parts. And because it's with the airbrush, it's very difficult to come back in later on with a paintbrush and fix it without it looking very obvious. So take your time, work your way around the whole model. It doesn't have to be heavy coats or anything. The grey primer covers up really nicely with this paint. And now we're on to the Game Colour Bloody Red. It's thinned a little bit, not by much. You can see my airbrush is really struggling with that at the moment. But the trick here is to push as hard as you want the brightness to be. So if you want a really, really bright red, then do a couple more coats. If you just want it to be sort of grungy, used look, then you get away with maybe 2 or 3 passes with the airbrush. But as you can see already, it's starting to really kind of pop with the red. And pretty much, if you don't watch the rest of the video, that's all you really need to know. And I thank you for coming and watching. But if you want to see how I painted the rest of the tank in a really sort of economical way in terms of time, then please stick around. So that's one done, one not done, as you can see. And I think it looks pretty decent. The time investment on this was really, really not great at all. It was, at the absolute most, to do the red took an hour to do all 4 vehicles. And that's probably being overly cautious. It was probably quicker than that. But certainly an hour would get you the 4 done to a really decent standard. So with the big Sicarian, are they Sicarian tanks? Anyway, with the bigger tanks, there's a lot more in terms of hidden nooks and crannies that you have to get your airbrush into. But it's simple. Just take your time, go around, do 1 coat for the whole tank, sit back and think, do I want it to be brighter? If you do, you don't need to mix any white in or anything like that. Just go another coat of that bloody red. Now you can see that big print line there. That's a big failed print line. So how do we solve that problem? Well, thanks to Roddy. Cheers, Roddy. The idea was, why don't we actually make that a feature of the tank? So I mask up the tank to leave a black line along that print fail. Now, the thing about print fail lines is they're laser straight, which is a real benefit, because you can actually make that part of your paint scheme. And let's face it, it's easier to mask a straight line than just to eyeball it. So it actually worked out just fine, and I hope you agree that it looks pretty decent at the end result. So as you can see, I'm nearly finished this second tank. It's just about saying, well, how bright do I want it? If you want it a bit brighter, put another couple of coats on. It's entirely up to you. I thought I wanted it to look sort of baroque, if that's a word I can use there. Probably not. Feel free to shout me down in the comments for that. But realistically, it's all about what do you want your Blood Angels to look like? This is a simple method. As I say, 2 colours, no mucking about, and you can get a really decent tabletop quality model in very limited amounts of time. So as I said, I masked off the black parts, or the parts I want to be black, with that fail line. And all I did was I went in with just flat black, nothing special there. And then when I finished the black coat, I went in with a grey just to break up the black. So this is the grey. When you see it and it's just black, it's I don't know, your eye just doesn't believe it somehow. So if you put a little bit of variation in the tone of the black, your eye just seems to accept it a bit better. Anyway, that's the black part here. And I don't know about you, but there's something really satisfying watching Dr. Pimple Popper or anything like that. So this is going to be the 40k equivalent, or the Warhammer equivalent. I'm going to peel off the masking tape just for you guys. There you go. Look at that. Because of the shape of it and because of the detail on it, I had to use sort of several different smaller parts, but you get the general message. And because of that print failure line, it was super easy to make it all perfect, and it all lined up absolutely flawlessly. So I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty decent. Also, as well, with the black, you could do what they call Death Company, I think. The black and red would work really well for those colours here. So that's the main colour done. What do I do about the tracks? Well, I use, and I have used for years, track primer. And all I do is just with a hairy stick, a battered old one there, I'm just going to paint that all over the tracks. I do come back later and highlight them or just dry brush them with gunmetal, because obviously they just look too perfectly dirty in this case. But it's a simple case, and as I say, nothing about this paint scheme is time consuming. This is all very, 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 very quick and easy to do. So anyone can do it, no matter what your skill level is or what you think your skill level is. You will absolutely be able to do this, I promise you. So that's the tracks done. All I need to do now is pick out the metal details, and I'm going to start with the exhaust stack, or the exhaust pipe. Obviously, I can't leave it just with bare metal because that looks new. And these vehicles are tens of thousands of years old and have been repaired many, many times and all that good lore stuff. So I'm going to paint them with gunmetal. It's the army painter gunmetal, but any gunmetal or lead belcher or whatever paint you've got will work just fine. There's also this kind of, I don't know if it's like a battery or something like that, or engine of, I don't know, some sort of power generator thing going on at the top here. So I paint that as well. And in one of them, I highlight it with the same color as the weapon glow. But you don't need to do that. I just wanted them to be different. Gun casings, I just did standard black. Again, nothing fancy that. And I edge highlighted it with Stonewall Grey, which is a really pretty decent contrast there. That's the, what's that, Flames of War gunmetal there. I used that colour for the barrels of these, I want to call them plasma, but I know are they Volkite weapons? I don't know. Whatever. Super smashy death ray, choo choo choo, all that good stuff. Anyway, the only other thing I did here is there's some kind of like box thing built into the end of the barrel, and I paint that gold. That's the only real difference, nothing else there. Because of the angle of this, I had to be quite careful when I was airbrushing it. So rather than spending hours getting masking tape and all the rest of it, I just cut up a piece of A4 paper, just box standard printer paper, and used that to carefully airbrush around. Again, these things might not be green in the lore. Apologies if that's the case. But, it's got it's hoops on the barrel, so to me they would look better glowing. So I just put in some fluorescent green there to sort of make them highlighted a bit. And here I'm just doing the dry brushing of the tracks. And I put a little like rust wash on the track links, like the hinges between each individual link, just to make it look I don't know, bolder, better. I don't know. Anyway, that's that part of the process. Nothing too complicated there. Then what did we do? Oh yeah, I made a sort of rust wash. Uh, the chrome parts that I'd done earlier on with exhaust. It doesn't really sell the effect enough, so later on I come in with hot orange on a sponge and I just like sponge some hot orange onto the exhaust. This was the only tricky part, and it's only tricky because I suck. But these doors seem to have some sort of marble. I don't know why would you have marble on a tank? Anyway, whatever. So they have these marble stone effects, and it's just retributor gold. The gold over the red actually works quite well. It doesn't really require a lot of highlighting or anything else. And then there's these like scrolls at the bottom. I just painted them with bone white and then did the standard wash, Agrax Earthshade wash to give the detail on them as well. So that's the dry brushing of the rust there. It looks better in real life. And then what's that? Oh yeah, that's the I used Agrax Earthshade again to do a sort of rivet. Well, it's not a wash, is it? I'm just dropping Agrax Earthshade onto each of the rivets. It just makes the whole thing look a bit more easy to read to your eye, I think, and it adds a bit of visual interest. So that was it. It was such a quick process. I wish I could paint my own stuff this quick. It just seems to be when I paint for other people, I get that quick. Anyway, so that's Rhino number one. As I say, if you wanted it to be brighter red, then you could put another couple of coats of bloody red on, and it would look great. But I kind of like this sort of older, worn red, and it's just a bit of airbrush control, and this would be the easiest thing in the world. But these are so this one is the one without the black stripe, so pretty done and dusted. It looks absolutely fine for the tabletop. I would never claim in a million years that it's going to win any kind of competition. Whoever it is that's sweating a golden demon this year, do not have to worry about me. But on the plus side, as I say, I battered these out in a couple of hours of continuous work, and for a tabletop game, that's I think that's plenty good enough. Anyway, if you've got any comments, questions, whatever, as always, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the cool stuff you want to. Right, cheers everyone, bye bye.